All right, here is the Seattle Mariners roster. I've already got it narrowed down to the 26-man roster. If you want to call anybody up or send anybody down, John, please let me know. But here's how I have it set as we get ready to go into the regular season. First, we'll look at your starting pitchers. You've got Robbie Ray, Logan Gilbert, Marco Gonzalez, Chris Flexen, an A prospect, George Kirby. I've got slotted in as your fifth starter right now. You've got another prospect, Matt Brash, down here, who's more or less major league ready whenever. Tommy Malone, Nick Margevicius, AJ Wojciechowski, Asher Wojciechowski, a good prospect in Emerson Hancock, 67 overall A potential, 22 years old, and Darren McCaughan and Connor Phillips, another C prospect who might be a back end of the rotation guy by the end of his career. For your relief pitching, you have Diego Castillo, Drew Steckenrider, Andres Munoz, Corey Sadler, Sergio Romo, Justice Sheffield's a long reliever. You've got Anthony Misowitz, Ryan Buchter, Wyatt Mills, Eric Swanson, Johan Ramirez, Sal Romano. I mean, you've got a good bullpen and you've got quite a bit of depth. Yeah, same thing with closer. You've got a good closer in Paul Sewald. He's only 31, 80 overall B potential. At catcher, you have Tom Murphy. He's got a good glove. He crushes lefties, but he does not hit righties well. You've got Cal Raleigh as a backup catcher. He's a switch hitter. Again, glove first. Doesn't hit much. You've got a really good catching prospect in Harry Ford, but he's a couple years away still. You've got Luis Torrance, who hits lefties pretty well, and he hits righties okay, but he is not a good defensive catcher by any stretch of the imagination. He's probably best suited at first base. And Chance Sisco is the same thing. He hits righties okay, but he is not a good defensive catcher. First, you've got Ty France, hits for high average, hits for power against lefties. He's got a good glove. He's your starting first baseman. In the minors, you've got Mike Ford. He hits for big power, plays decent defense. Evan White plays elite defense, hits a little bit against righties, not much against lefties. Second base, you've got Adam Frazier. Really hits for high average against righties. Is mediocre against lefties. Has a great glove at second base. You've got Dylan Moore coming off the bench. He's a super utility guy. Plays every position well, runs well, hits for some power. Sam Haggerty, same thing, super utility guy. He's a mediocre defender, but he hits a little bit more than Dylan Moore, at least for average. He's got elite speed. At third, you've got Eugenio Suarez. Doesn't hit for much average, but he's got huge power, plays a pretty good defensive third baseman. You've got the young Abraham Toro, who probably could start against righties on a lot of teams. You don't really have a spot for him to play every day. You've got Kevin Padlow, who is basically just a depth piece at this point. Shortstop, you've got J.P. Crawford, pretty solid player. Coming up behind him, you have Noel V. Marte, a 20-year-old A potential, 69 overall. Plays decent defense at shortstop. His bat is going to be the big thing. It's going to continue to develop. He should be a pretty good player. You've got Donovan Walton, hits well, plays decent defense. Like, he's actually a pretty good AAA bench guy. He could go either way. Jesse Winker is your left fielder slash DH. He absolutely crushes right-handed pitching. Doesn't hit much against lefties. Plays a lousy defense. That's why he's going to be DHing. You've got Kyle Lewis, who's your left fielder. He's better against righties, but he hits both. Plays an average defense out in left field. He's got pretty good speed. You've got prospect Taylor Trammell in the minor leagues. Probably not going to hit for a lot of average. He's got some pop, plays good defense. You've got one of the best prospects in the game in center field, and Julio Rodriguez. He just does everything well. He looks a lot like a little bit younger Luis Robert. Plays pretty good defense in center, hits for average, hits for power, steals bases. Back up, you've got Billy Hamilton. You know what Billy Hamilton does. You've also got Marcus Wilson, who is basically just a depth piece. And right, you got Mitch Haniger. Really crushes lefties. He's pretty good against righties. Plays a good defensive right field, even though he doesn't run particularly well. You've got another big prospect in Jared Kelenic coming up behind him. Hits for huge power against righties. Needs to develop a bit against lefties. Isn't a great defensive outfielder. Might actually be better in left, even though he's got the arm for right. You've also got Steven Souza Jr., who is a good depth piece. Could probably make the major league roster on most teams. You got him in AAA right now. And that basically does it for your notable major league roster. And we'll take a quick look at your rotation. I've got Robbie Ray, Logan Gilbert, Marco Gonzalez, Chris Flexen, and George Kirby. Sadler, Romo, and Sheffield as your long relievers. Munoz, Steckenrider, middle relief. Diego Castillo setting up. Paul Sewald. And your lineup, I've got Adam Frazier leading off, Julio Rodriguez hitting second, Haniger hitting third, Winker hitting cleanup, Ty France hitting fifth, Kyle Lewis sixth, Eugenio Suarez hitting seventh, Cal Raleigh hitting eighth, and J.P. Crawford hitting short. The only thing that I think there's some question about is whether you want to start Cal Raleigh or Tom Murphy. Neither hit righties well. They're about equal defensively. It's kind of a tough call unless you want to upgrade that position altogether and get somebody who actually hits righties in there. Um, Against left-handed pitching, it's the exact same lineup, just swapped out catchers. Frazier, Rodriguez, Haniger, Winker, France, Lewis, Suarez, Murphy, Crawford. Murphy crushes lefties. So if you want to upgrade, it'd probably be over Raleigh. Keep Murphy as a guy who can play against lefties. Um, that does it for your roster. We've got contract extensions, but that'll happen again later in the year. We'll worry about it then. I'm not worried about it now. If you want to go ahead and make any trades, switch your lineup, your pitching rotation, make some moves on your roster, just let me know. All right, thank you.